With the capture of Ardor, the western reaches of Kalinatham had been secured. The Mountain King now had the ability to dictate his destiny. There was just one last hurdle to topple for total control in the White Mountains. With the overall ceasefire with the wild men, the mountain men were in relative peace. Zaragamba, after arranging the garrisons in the west with his followers, left back to his fiefdom. Sarazia now increased the strength of his stronghold of Dunharrow, developing many mining networks and weapon facilities to turn his warriors the best in Kalinatham. Those in the fiefdoms, such as Tamar, had no option but to follow the orders of the Mountain King. Such was his might. The question now was the issue of the fortress commanders of Aglarond and Angrenost. Diplomats were incessant in their calls for Isildur's oath, with rumors going around of the rebel army in Alfawarden being supported by them. The year of 3436 of the Second Age brought great changes in the region. In Offerwarden, Tamar brought to his house the noble Hala to marry his daughter. And in Dunharrow, Saragamba's son, Tal Sarasir, had completed his coming-of-age ceremony, being awarded mastery of the western fiefdoms, with its capital of Ardor. This was the time when Tamar and Hala gathered all available men in Offerwarden to defeat Araval's rampaging host. Hala engaged the enemy with his infantry, while Tamar encircled Araval with his cavalry and repeatedly charged. The rebel host had no way to consider such a deadly combo, and ended up being finally defeated after nearly 2 years of plunder. Araval had escaped to the wilderness of Fangor in the north, never to be seen again. It was at this time that the truth came to be known. Many of the captured soldiers told Tamar of Aglarond and Angrenost's involvement in the rebellion. When this news came to the knowledge of the Mountain King, he became a beast of tamed. So much so that he changed his loyalties to the side of the Enedwaith when they came once again into conflict with the Númenóreans. Sarazia desired vengeance for the treachery of Aglarond and Angrenost. Tal Sarazia, upon coming to Ardor, learn of the current news and began to gather a host to begin deadly assault. He gathered support by marrying the daughter of the former chieftain of Ardor, Manthor.
My lord.
Quickly he left his fortress to catch up the Numenorians by surprise. Being notified by his spies, Tamar quickly sent Hala to capture Athride Angren, making it a subordinate fiefdom of Ofelwarden. Tamar,
We shall continue
fearing
tomorrow.
Tal Zarazir's reach into Kalanathan, declared Ofelwarden a principality, having nominal control of western Kalanathan.
Yes, my lord.
Yes.
The newly appointed Prince of Ofelwarden was receptive of Numenorian influence, but despised the fortress commanders for their involvement in the rebellion of Araval. These broke down the unity in the White Mountains, with Tamar's faction being for Numenor in the Great War, while Zaragamba's faction sided with the Dark Lord in the Great War. Zarazir became isolated in Dunharrow, with his men designing neither side in the Great War, instead carving their own path in this torn Middle-earth. Nonetheless, Zarazir could not overlook the actions of Anglarond and Angrenos.
Yes.
So he set forth with his new assembled royal host. Many veteran and well-armed warriors marched forward to Aglarond.
We go no further to
At this point, Zaragamba picked a crack force and marched near his border with Anorian. His intentions were those of blood and steel. With the coming of the year 34-37 of the Second Age, the Mountain King had arrived at the mountain fortress of Aglarond.
Yes, my lord. Without question.
His emissary,
Joining armed
Tal
escort.
Aragan, gave word to the
Where's your
commander
command?
of the fortress, Halas. For many days, the parley ensued, with Zarazir demanding the fortress surrender, where he then would consider it as a token of trust and would march east to aid in the Great Alliance. Halas, however, did not trust the word of the Mountain King, demanding instead the lands of Kalanatha to be turned over to Numenorian direct control.
raise our
The discussions would end when the Aladar of the White Mountains, Zaragamba, broke the oath of Isildur, capturing the western fortress of Anorian in the name
Your
of the
enemies
Dark
lie
Lord.
defeated.
Seeing that a peaceful resolution was
We
out
shall
of question,
slaughter them, my lord.
Zarazir began the siege of Aglarond. Tal Zarazir too, with the aid of the Wildmen, attacked the fortress of Angrenost, starting the war against the heirs of Numenor. The fortress commander, Haratan, sent his general, Narrator, to fight against the invading horde. Zarazir was shrewd enough to block him from uniting with his main host, leaving Marathon exposed to the mountain man's armor. Narrator fought bravely, but failed to dull Zarazi's forces before reinforcements arrived.
Behold how our cowardly foe runs. It's time to press the enemy.
When the main Numenorian army arrived in battle, the mountain men were ready to receive them. Later came the wild men, attacking the Numenorian host from the rear, breaking their resolve against the barbarian hordes. The Battle of Angrenost had been a defeat for the Numenorians, but Aratan remained in the fortress with his men. Although the first blood had been spilled, now total war would be the only path. More will come in the next page of this tale. Hope to see you again in this other realm once more.